As 2026 begins, boxing is more fragmented than ever. But these are the men who enter the year as full world champions. Forget all that interim bollocks. Division by division, these are the fighters who hold the belts at the start of 2026. Heavyweight. Oleksandr Usyk. Oleksandr Usyk enters 2026 as the WBA Super, WBC, IBF and Ring Magazine champion. The undefeated Ukrainian is an Olympic gold medalist, a former Undisputed Cruiserweight champion, and one of the most technically gifted heavyweights in boxing history. Victories over Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, and Daniel Dubois confirm his status. WBO champion Fabio Wardley carries British hopes. An undefeated knockout artist with a never-say-die attitude and one of the highest KO ratios in the division. The former blue-collar boxer shook up the division massively with his come-from-behind knockout of leading contender Joseph Parker. Cruiserweight. Gilberto Zerdo Ramirez. The WBA and WBO champion became the first Mexican-born Cruiserweight world champion after moving up from light heavyweight. His points win over Chris Billum-Smith demonstrates just how crafty this Mexican is. Noah McKillian, the WBC champion, holds the green belt with his slick technical style, claiming the title with a convincing win over the aging Badu Jack. Jay Opetaia, the IBF and Ring champion, is the division's most dangerous fighter, an explosive, lightning-quick puncher. Since overcoming a broken jaw to take the title from the teak-tough Maris Bradis, he's been destroying the opposition. 7 defences, 6 by knockouts, most of them absolutely brutal. Light heavyweight. Dmitry Bivol enters 2026 as the WBA Super, IBF, WBO and Ring champion. Known for his elite footwork, composure, Bivol cemented his reputations with wins over the very best, Canelo Alvarez and the fearsome Artur Beterbiev. David Benavidez, the undefeated WBC champion, looms as the division's biggest threat, bringing size, aggression, relentlessness and knockout power. Recent victories over Anthony Yarde, David Morrell, Alexander Godzik and Demetrius Andrade confirm his class. Super middleweight. Amando Resendez holds the WBA world title after being elevated following Terence Crawford's retirement, which won't last 10 bloody minutes. Resendez caused one of 2025's biggest surprises when he out-hustled the classy Caleb Plant. The remaining belts are currently vacant, leaving the division absolutely wide open. Middleweight. Erislandy Lara. The WBA champion remains one of boxing's most elusive technicians, even in his late 30s. Controlling fights with stiff backhand, he's not always pretty, but he's always extremely difficult. Carlos Adames, the WBC champion, brings pressure and physicality. He looked unlucky to have to settle for a draw against rising British puncher Hamza Shiraz last time out. Shanabek Al-Qanouni, the IBF and WBO champion, is widely considered to be the best middleweight in the world. An unbeaten southpaw with elite fundamentals, 2 world titles, and he's yet to face anyone of real note. Super welterweight. Abbas Barou. The German WBA champion used sharp boxing and timing to outscore Cuba's Yonis Tellez, but he doesn't look likely to survive defense number 1 against Xander Zayas. Sebastian Fundora, the towering WBC champion, combines freakish height with relentless volume and a leaky defense. His 7th round beatdown of Tim Tszyu in his last fight was very impressive. Bakram Murtazeliev, the IBF champion, is a composed, technically sound finisher. Stoppages of Tim Tszyu and Jack Kulke suggest he might be the division's best. Xander Zayas, the WBO champion, enters 2026 as one of boxing's brightest young stars, and I'm expecting him to add the WBA championship at the end of January. Welterweight. Rolando Rolly Romero. The WBA champion brings chaos and knockout power, outworking Ryan Garcia in one of 2025's biggest upsets. Mario Barrios, the WBC champion, relies on discipline and consistency. Drawing with the legendary Manny Pacquiao last time out, a rematch should be on the cards. Lewis Crocker, the IBF champion, represents Ireland with toughness, pressure, power, and as he showed in his rematch against Paddy Donovan, a bit of gal. Devin Haney, the WBO champion, continues to dominate with elite movement and control. Poor Brian Norman didn't get a look in last time out. Super lightweight, Gary Antoine Russell, the WBA champion, blends power with sharp fundamentals, taking the title from Jose Venezuela. Subriel Matias, the WBC champion, is one of boxing's most feared pressure fighters, taking the title from Alberto Puello, but British hope Dalton Smith is coming. Richardson Hitchens, the IBF champion, brings slick boxing and precision, making defense number one emphatically by stopping former lightweight king Georgie Cambiaso Jr. in 8. Teofimo Lopez, the WBO and Ring champion, remains one of the sport's biggest names. At his best, he's an elite counterpuncher. At his worst, he's an ineffective chaser. He soundly beat Arnold Barbosa Jr. last time out. Gervonta Tank Davis, the WBA champion, remains one of boxing's most exciting fighters and one of its biggest knockout artists, but outside the ring issues threaten to derail him. Shakur Stevenson, the WBC champ, showcases elite defense and ring IQ. He also brought a bit of excitement last time out in his points win over William Zepeda. Raymond Muratella, the IBF champion, brings pressure and power, but it seems unlikely he's going to get past Cuban former amateur great Andy Cruz in his first defense. Abdul Mason, the WBO champion, looks like a future superstar. His points win over Sam Noakes stands as one of the best fights in 2025. Check out the video on my channel about him. Super featherweight, Jazza Dickinson, the WBA champion, shook the division with his late career surge, upsetting former Olympic gold medalist Alberto Batazagayev. I think that's right, I'm going to stick with it. Shaki Foster, the WBC champion, is known for slick counter-punching, and he looked sensational while bossing Stephen Fulton last time out. Eduardo Nunes, the IBF champion, carries serious knockout power, while Emmanuel Navarrete, the WBO champion, remains one of boxing's most unpredictable volume punchers. Featherweight, Nick Ball, the WBA champion, fights with non-stop aggression, a strong, relentless pocket rocket. He's made 3 successful defenses since taking the title from Raymond Ford. Angelo Leo, the IBF champion, relies on sharp combinations and counter-punching. One such counter left defending champion Luis Alberto Lopez out cold. Rafael Espinoza, the WBO champion, uses size and reach to dominate. He's made 4 defenses since dethroning Robsy Ramirez. Super bantamweight, Naoya the Monster Inoue enters 2026 as the undisputed super bantamweight champion, holding the WBA, WBC, IBF, WBO and Ring titles. A generational talent with devastating power, Inoue stands pound for pound amongst the greatest of the era. Bantamweight, Seiya Tatsumi, the WBA champion, relies on grit and volume. He outscored the aging legend Nonito Donaire last time out. Takuma Inoue, the WBC champion, follows in his brother's footsteps with technical brilliance, and he showcased it in his mega fight win last time out against Tenshin. Jose Salas, the IBF champion, enters the elite level unbeaten. Christian Mendy, the WBO champion, brings knockout power. Super flyweight, Jesse Bam Rodriguez enters 2026 as the WBA, WBC and WBO and Ring champion. Still in his 20s, Bam is already a multi-division star with speed, power, composure and footwork beyond his years. Wilbaldo Garcia, the IBF champion, sits a level or 2 below Rodriguez. Flyweight, Ricardo Sandoval, the WBA and WBC champion, is a pressure fighter with durability. Masamichi Yakubi, the IBF champion, carries explosive power. While Anthony Oleksandr, no way I've pronounced that right, the WBO champion, brings speed and precision. Light flyweight, Rene Santiago, the WBA and WBO champion, leads the division. Knockout CP Freshmart, the WBC champion, lives up to his name. Thamon Simsari, the IBF champion, brings elite finishing ability. In the minimum weight division, Oscar Collazo enters 2026 as the WBA Super, WBO and Ring champion. Undefeated and dominant, Collazo stands head and shoulders above the division. Although Melvin Jerusalem, the WBC champion, and Pedro Tudoran, the IBF champion, round out the division. So these are the men who begin 2026 as boxing world champions across every weight class, every major belt. The question is, fight fans, who's going to still be on top at the end of 2026? Let's have your predictions in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time, fight fans.